On a narrow street in Seoul's Seongsu district, a leather workshop sits next to a concept store selling ceramics designed in Copenhagen. A few doors down, a 40-year-old cobbler shares a building with a team of software engineers running a sustainability startup. This is Seongsu, at once industrial and avant-garde, local and globally fluent, old and constantly new. And yet, for all its complexity, the language used to describe it has remained stubbornly simple. Made in Seongsu. 3 words borrowed from factory floors and customs declarations. 3 words that, according to Paul Kang, publisher of bcd-W magazine, get it entirely wrong. The problem with made in is not just aesthetic, Kang said. It's structural. It assumes a city is a backdrop, a production facility. But Seongsu is not a backdrop. It is a force. In a proposal developed through bcd-W magazine, a publication that sits at the intersection of culture, design, and urban life, Kang introduced a new framework for the district's identity. He called it Seongsu Merge. The problem with made-in construction has served branding well for over a century. It signals provenance, quality assurance, national pride. Made in Germany conjures engineering precision. Made in Italy evokes artisanal luxury. Made in France, couture. But the world's most influential cities have quietly been moving away from it. New York is no longer just a manufacturing origin. It is a state of mind. Berlin refuses to be finished. Its informal civic motto, "Berlin is not finished," positions the city as an eternal process rather than a product. Paris exports not goods, but a way of living, the art de vivre. London, especially in fashion and music, is described as a platform, a hub of flows. Every major city has evolved its own language, Kang observed. But cities in Korea, and Seongsu in particular, are still reaching for an industrial-era label at the exact moment when everything around them has moved on. The critique is precise. Made speaks only of results. It erases process, relationship, collaboration. The word in draws a boundary, inside versus outside, at a time when the most compelling creative work is produced by immigrants, itinerant designers, cross-border collaborations, and people who live in multiple cities at once. To say, made in Seongsu, is to reduce a living ecosystem to a postage stamp. The discovery. The city was already water. The conceptual breakthrough, Kang has said, came not from trend analysis or market research, but from etymology. The name Seongsu, Sheng Shui, is composed of 2 Chinese characters, Sheng, meaning sacred or holy, and Shui, meaning water. The city's name already meant something. It always had. Water cannot be stamped. Water cannot be owned. It seeps, it merges, it flows. And that is exactly what Seongsu does. Water, as a conceptual anchor, resolved problems that branding exercises rarely solve. It accommodated movement, the young designers who arrive, create, and leave. It accommodated permeability, the global brands that absorb Seongsu's aesthetic and carry it to Tokyo, Paris, or New York. It accommodated time, the accumulation of craft and memory layered beneath the district's rapid surface changes. From this, Kang introduced the word merge, not as a translation and not merely as an English gloss. The word was chosen because it operates on 3 registers simultaneously. In Korean, meolji, meonji, the phonetic rendering of merge, carries its own resonance, functioning as a hybrid word that the city's young, multilingual creative class would recognize as native to their vernacular. In the Chinese character tradition embedded in the name Sheng Shui, merging is the fundamental behavior of water. Rivers join, currents combine. In contemporary English language culture, merge belongs to the vocabulary of technology and design. Code merges, brands merge, ideas merge, Seongsu merge, Seongsu meolji, Sheng Shui merge. 3 languages, 1 concept. designed to be legible across cultures without losing specificity in any of them. A language, not a logo. What distinguishes the Seongsu merge proposal from conventional city branding is its refusal to resolve into a product. There is no tagline to be stamped on tote bags, no color palette to be applied to street furniture. The framework is deliberately open. Seongsu merge, as defined by Kang and bcd-W magazine, encompasses brands that originated in Seongsu, projects built in Seongsu's way of working, people who have passed through the district's networks, global collaborations that carry its rhythm, and other cities into which Seongsu's sensibility has seeped. The definition describes a condition, not a certification. If you define the outcome, you limit the concept, Kang said. We deliberately did not define what qualifies, because the whole point is that Seongsu keeps merging with new things. The structural logic is explicit. Where made in is retrospective, it describes what has already been produced. Seongsu merge is perspective and processual. It describes what is happening and what will happen. Where made in draws a hard perimeter, Seongsu merge describes a gradient, a zone of seeping influence. The proposal. A magazine speaks to a city. Perhaps the most unusual aspect of the project is its institutional origin. Urban branding campaigns are almost universally initiated by government bodies, tourism bureaus, or large consultancies commissioned by city administrations. The process tends to be expensive, slow, and often arrives at results that the creative community the brand is meant to represent finds alienating. Seongsu merge followed a different logic entirely. bcd-W magazine, through its publisher Paul Kang, developed the framework independently and brought it as a proposal to the city government of Seongsu. The direction of authority was reversed. The cultural producer spoke first. The institution was invited to listen. This inversion reflects a broader argument that Kang has made through bcd-W's editorial work, that the most accurate and durable urban concepts tend to emerge not from top-down strategic planning, but from people who are embedded in and genuinely attentive to a place. City governments are good at many things, he has noted, but they are often the last to know what a neighborhood actually is. The people who know are the ones making things there. A framework for what comes next. The implications of the Seongsu merge proposal, if adopted, extend well beyond Seongsu itself. The concept provides a template for how any city with a distinctive creative identity might articulate that identity without resorting to the flattening grammar of industrial-era place branding. It suggests that a city's name, its etymology, its buried histories, is a resource that branding rarely thinks to consult. It argues for multilingual design as a default, not an afterthought, in a world where creative communities routinely inhabit more than one cultural and linguistic register, and it demonstrates that a single editor or publisher working with cultural intelligence rather than media budget can propose a concept of lasting civic value. Other neighborhoods, in Seoul and beyond, watch Seongsu closely. They import its aesthetics, study its commercial logic, attempt to replicate its atmosphere. What they often miss is the conceptual infrastructure beneath, the way the district has been understood, articulated, and eventually, perhaps, named. Seongsu merge is a branding concept developed by bcd-W magazine. The framework was conceived and created by Paul Kang, publisher of bcd-W.